Alabama. The name Alabama is derived from the Alabama or Alabamu tribe, a Muskogean people native to the region. However, the exact meaning of Alabama remains a subject of debate. Some interpretations suggest it comes from Choctaw words meaning vegetation gatherers, reflecting the tribe's agricultural practices. The name's origin is further complicated by its connection to the Alabama River, which was named first, following the common practice of naming places after geographical features. Alaska. Alaska's name reveals a complex interplay between native peoples and foreign colonizers. Alaska's name originates from the Aleut word Alyeska, meaning the Great Land, or the object towards which the action of the sea is directed. The first English reference to Alaska appears as Alashka on early maps, a corruption of the Aleut term. Russian explorers played a crucial role in Alaska's naming. During their colonization of the region, they adopted and adapted the Aleut name. Arizona, often associated with arid landscapes, may actually owe its moniker to an unexpected source: water. The name is believed to derive from the O'odham language, specifically the phrase Ali Sonak, which translates to little spring. This interpretation reflects the region's arid landscape and the crucial importance of water sources in the desert. Others have erroneously linked it to the Spanish term arida zona, meaning arid zone, though this is considered a case of folklore without historical support. Historian James H. McClintock suggests that Arizona likely originated from a Native American place name that sounded like Ali Shonak, meaning place of the small spring. Arkansas. The term Arkansas originates from the Quapaw people, who referred to themselves as Ogaxpa, meaning downstream people. This name reflects their historical migration down the Mississippi River. French explorers later adapted this name, influencing its current pronunciation and spelling. The finals in Arkansas is silent, a characteristic of French pronunciation. The term Arkansas is a plural form of the French adaptation of the Quapaw name, highlighting the tension between indigenous naming conventions and European adaptations. French explorers referred to the local Quapaw tribe as Akansa or Arkansas, a misinterpretation that ultimately influenced the state's name. California. The name originates from a 16th-century Spanish romance novel, Las Sergas de Esplandian, by Garcia Rodriguez de Montalvo, which describes a mythical island paradise called California. In this fictional world, California was ruled by Queen Califia and her Amazon-like warriors. Influenced by this popular tale, Spanish explorers applied the name to the region they discovered, believing it might be the fabled island. The name California is thought to derive from Califia, possibly connected to the Arabic word caliph, meaning successor. The Spanish name was retained when the United States acquired California from Mexico in 1846, preserving this unique link between fiction and geographical reality. Colorado. The term Colorado literally means colored or ruddy, and was used to describe the river's muddy color in various places. One source notes, the state's name means colored red or color rojo in Spanish, which was used for the Colorado River because of the abundance of red sandstone soil in the region. Connecticut. The long tidal river. That is the meaning of the Algonquian word Quinnitakut. The name highlights the importance of rivers in Native American culture and daily life. The preservation of the Algonquian language in Connecticut's name serves as a reminder of the indigenous presence in the region, despite the significant displacement of Native American peoples during European colonization. Interestingly, Connecticut features a silent C, a quirk that may have been introduced by English speakers who conflated it with the word connect. Delaware. The state is named after Thomas West, the third Baron Delaware, who served as Virginia's first governor. Interestingly, the Lenape tribe adopted the name Delaware after European settlers mispronounced their name. Florida. The Spanish term Pascua Florida, which translates to Feast of Flowers, can be linked to the naming of the state of Florida. This naming reflects both the region's natural beauty and the timing of its discovery during the Easter season. In 1513, Spanish explorer Ponce de León landed in Florida on Easter Sunday, known in Spanish as Pascua de Flores, linking the state's name to this religious holiday. The term Pascua Florida was commonly used in Spanish to refer to the Easter season, suggesting that Florida's name was inspired by both the time of year and the blooming flowers encountered by Ponce de León. Georgia. Named after King George II of Great Britain, was the state of Georgia, the last of the 13 colonies to be established. This naming reflects a common practice during the colonial era, where territories were named after European monarchs as a way of claiming land and demonstrating loyalty to the crown. The suffix ia in Georgia, derived from Greek, means state of. Hawaii. Hawaii stands alone among U.S. states as a state echoing not European royalty, but the whispers of ancient Polynesian voyagers. The name Hawaii is believed to have multiple origins, possibly deriving from the native Hawaiian word Hawaii, which simply refers to the place itself and may mean homeland. This interpretation emphasizes the cultural significance of the term, connecting it to the broader narrative of Polynesian settlement and identity. Another theory links Hawaii's name to Hawaiki, the mythological homeland of the Polynesians. Some suggest the islands may be named after a legendary navigator, Hawaii Loa, who is said to have discovered them. The state is unique among U.S. states as the only one with a name of Polynesian origin, highlighting its distinct cultural heritage. Idaho, widely considered a historical hoax. George M. Willing, a mining lobbyist, is credited with inventing the name Idaho in the 1860s, claiming it meant gem of the mountains in a Native American language. This claim was later revealed to be fabricated. The name was initially proposed for the territory of Colorado, but fell into common usage for what is now Idaho when its lack of genuine Native American origin was discovered. Illinois. The name Illinois derives from the Illiniwek, a confederation of Native American tribes, which translates to the people. This signifies not just a single tribe but a collective identity of the various tribes that formed the Illiniwek Confederation, representing unity among different groups. Illinois is a French adaptation of the Algonquian word for the Illiniwek. Indiana. The naming of Indiana captures the contradictory attitudes towards Native Americans during the early years of the United States. While the name acknowledges the original inhabitants, it also represents the broader context of colonization and the organization of newly acquired territories. Indiana was part of the Northwest Territory, established as a means to govern lands obtained through expansion. The term Land of the Indians serves as a linguistic reminder of the indigenous cultures that existed before European settlement. However, it also underscores the tragic irony of naming a state after a people who were being systematically removed from their ancestral lands. Iowa. The Iowa people, also known as the Baksoji, lived in the valley of the Iowa River, which was named after them. This direct connection between the tribe and the state's identity highlights the preservation of indigenous heritage through place names. Interestingly, alternative interpretations of the name exist. One frontiersman in 1868 reported that Native Americans encamped by a river expressed their satisfaction with the location by saying Iowa, 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 which he understood to mean beautiful. Kansas. Kansas derives its name from the Kansa tribe, which translates to people of the south wind. This name reflects their cultural connection to the region's natural elements, particularly the characteristic winds of the Great Plains. The Kansa people were part of the Siouan language family, and their name is believed to reference their use of the wind in ceremonial contexts. This highlights a deep connection to their environment, a common theme in many Native American names. The term Kansas encapsulates the essence of the Great Plains, directly relating to the state's geographical location and its distinctive wind patterns. Kentucky. The true meaning of Kentucky's name remains a subject of debate among historians. The origin is uncertain, but it's believed to derive from an Iroquois word potentially meaning land of tomorrow or meadow. George Rogers Clark, a pioneer, claimed Kentucky's name originated from the Iroquois word Kentucky, meaning meadowland. Another theory suggests it stems from the Wyandot word Kenta-ten, also translating to land of tomorrow. Some interpretations propose that Kentucky could mean at the head of a river, reflecting its geographical features. Louisiana. How did a French king's name come to be associated with a territory that once stretched from the Gulf of Mexico to Canada? The story behind Louisiana's name reveals the scope of colonial aspirations in the New World. The name Louisiana was derived from La Louisiane, which combines Louis with the suffix ana, indicating land or territory. The state is named in honor of King Louis XIV of France, known as the Sun King. The name was first used by French explorer René Robert Cavelier de La Salle in the mid-1600s during a time of French exploration and colonization of the Mississippi River Valley, Maine. One theory suggests the state was named after the French province of Maine, reflecting the influence of French explorers in the region. Another proposal links it to the estate of Henrietta Maria, wife of King Charles I of England, which was also called Maine. A more practical explanation posits that Maine refers to the mainland, distinguishing it from the surrounding islands. This theory is supported by early documents that spell it as mainland. Some argue that the name may derive from the nautical term Maine, used by sailors to refer to the mainland as opposed to nearby islands. The uncertainty surrounding Maine's name highlights the complex colonial history of New England, where many place names were influenced by both indigenous languages and European settlers' interpretations. Maryland. Maryland's name shows the significant influence of the British monarchy on early American colonization. Many states were named in honor of European monarchs, showcasing the linking of colonial history with European politics. Queen Henrietta Maria herself was a notable figure who managed to escape the turmoil of the English Civil War by fleeing to France after raising an army for her husband. The selection of Maryland's name to honor Queen Henrietta Maria highlights the royal connections that played a crucial role in the establishment of colonies in America. Massachusetts. The term "at the Great Hill," which refers to the Blue Hills southwest of Boston, has a relationship with the naming of Massachusetts. This name highlights the significance of geographical features in Native American place names. The Massachusetts Bay Colony was named after the indigenous Massachusetts people who inhabited the region. It is noted as the first U.S. state to have an Indian name, underscoring the importance of indigenous languages in the region's history. Michigan. Michigan's name originates from the Ojibwe word Michigama, which translates to Great Water or Big Lake. This name directly references Lake Michigan, a significant natural feature of the state. The Great Lakes, including Lake Michigan, have played a crucial role in shaping the geography and culture of the region, influencing settlement patterns, trade routes, and local economies. The name Michigan exemplifies how state names can encapsulate geographical features, with their origins rooted in indigenous languages that describe the environment. Minnesota. Minnesota water features hold substantial importance in Dakota culture, often symbolizing life and connection to the land. The name Minnesota encapsulates this cultural reverence for water, emphasizing its role in shaping the region's identity. The name Minnesota is derived from the Dakota Sioux word Minnesota, which can mean either cloudy water or sky-tinted water, depending on how it's pronounced. If said with an sound, it means clear water, while the sh sound denotes cloudy water. Mississippi. This name reflects the cultural significance of the Mississippi River to the indigenous peoples who inhabited the region. The river is often referred to as the Father of Waters, indicating its vastness and importance in the landscape of North America. The Native American tribe of Ojibwe calls it Mississippi, which translates to Great River. The Mississippi River's name was first documented by the French explorer Henri de Tonty, who wrote it as Michi-Sepe. This historical record underscores the river's centrality in the region's geography and its role in shaping the identities of the surrounding areas. Missouri. The Missouri Indians, known as the Missouris, were referred to by their name meaning town of the large canoes, indicating the importance of these vessels in their culture. The name Missouri originates from the Illinois-Miami language, showcasing the interactions between different Native American groups. Dugout canoes were crucial for river transportation, particularly for the Missouri tribe, which relied on rivers for trade and travel. The term has also been interpreted as those who have dugout canoes, emphasizing the technological adaptation of the tribe to their riverine environment. Montana. Montana's name is derived from the Spanish word montaña, meaning mountain. This shows the state's mountainous terrain and showcases the enduring influence of Spanish exploration in the American West. Spanish explorers played a crucial role in naming geographical features, which later became state names. The term Montana was officially adopted when the state was separated from Nebraska Territory. Despite its name, Montana's geography sparked some debate. Critics noted that the state is not as mountainous as the name suggests, leading to complaints about its appropriateness. Nebraska. Nebraska derived from the Odo word Nebraska, meaning flat water, specifically referring to the Platte River in the state of Nebraska. This name captures an essential characteristic of the state's landscape, highlighting its relatively flat terrain and the river's gentle flow. The Platte River, in particular, played a crucial role in the settlement of the Great Plains, providing essential resources for early settlers and travelers on the Oregon and California trails. Nevada. Nevada's name is derived from the Spanish word meaning snow-covered, referring to the Sierra Nevada mountain range. This name echoes the observations of Spanish explorers who were struck by the snow-capped mountains in the region, which contrasts sharply with the state's arid desert image. The term Sierra Nevada translates to snowy mountains, highlighting the geographical significance of the state's name. The Spanish influence on Nevada's name is indicative of the broader trend of naming states in the American Southwest, where many names have Spanish origins. New Hampshire. New Hampshire was named by Captain John Mason in 1629 after the English county of Hampshire, where he had lived as a child. This naming practice was common among European settlers, who often recreated familiar geographic names in the Americas. The name Hampshire itself derives from the Old English Hamptonshire, meaning village-town county, signaling the historical context of the region as a defined administrative area. New Hampshire is one of several states that carry the new prefix, signifying the European settlers' tendency to recreate familiar environments in their new homeland. New Jersey. The name New Jersey harbors a surprising link to a small island, an English noble, and potentially Norse seafarers. The island is the Channel Island of Jersey, located in the English Channel. The state was initially created under the name New Kaisadia, based on a misunderstanding of the Roman name for Jersey. However, George Carteret, one of the co-founders of the colony, received land from the Duke of York and named it after his birthplace, Jersey. Interestingly, the name Jersey itself may have Viking origins. Some historians suggest it could mean Geir's Island, potentially referring to a Norse explorer. New Mexico. The term Mexico itself is derived from the Nahuatl word Mexitli, which refers to an Aztec war god. Initially, Nuevo Mexico was associated with the region around present-day Mexico City before being applied to the Northern Territories. This naming reflects the shifting geopolitical boundaries in North America during the period of Spanish exploration and colonization. New York. Why would a royal figure lend his title to this iconic American state? New York is named after James Stuart, the Duke of York, who later became King James II of England. This naming reflects the British takeover of the Dutch colony of New Amsterdam in 1664. The transition from New Amsterdam to New York exemplifies the broader patterns of colonial expansion and the influence of European nobility in naming new territories. The name York itself has its origins in the Roman name Eboracum, which is derived from a Celtic name meaning place of the yew tree. Over time, the name evolved through various linguistic influences. The Anglo-Saxons referred to it as Eoforwic, meaning village of the boar, while the Vikings later adapted it to Jorvik, North Carolina. The original Carolina colony was granted by King Charles II in 1663 and was intended to honor his father, King Charles I. The area was referred to as Carolina in some English papers as early as the 1600s. However, the Carolinas were officially divided into two separate colonies in 1712, reflecting the growing administrative and political complexities of the region during colonial times. The name Carolina derives from the Latin form of Charles, which is Carolus. The division of Carolina into North and South reflects the practical challenges of governing such a vast territory. This separation allowed for more efficient administration and acknowledged the distinct economic and social developments in each region. North Dakota. Dakota means allies or friends in the Sioux language, reflecting the cooperative spirit among the Sioux tribes. North Dakota, along with South Dakota, is named after the Dakota people, who consist of various groups including the Lakota and Nakota. The Dakota tribes use the term Dakota to signify their identity as allies, highlighting their historical emphasis on unity and cooperation. Ohio. Ohio's name reveals the profound impact of water on human settlement. The name originates from the Seneca word Ohio, meaning great river or large creek, specifically referring to the Ohio River. The Ohio River held significant importance in both Native American cultures and early American expansion. Historically recognized by indigenous peoples as a central feature of their landscape, the river became a vital waterway for trade and transportation. The name Ohio encapsulates the cultural and geographical significance of the river, emphasizing its role in the interactions between indigenous peoples and European settlers. Oklahoma. The name is derived from the Choctaw words Okla, meaning people, and Huma, meaning red, translating to red people. It was coined by a Choctaw named Allen Wright, who sought to create a name that recognized the indigenous peoples being relocated to the area during the 19th century. The term red people in Oklahoma's name can be interpreted as a reference to Native Americans in general, encapsulating the state's complex history as a former Indian territory. Oklahoma's history is marked by the forced relocation of Native American tribes from their ancestral lands, particularly during the Trail of Tears. Oregon. Some argue that the name Oregon may have originated from the Portuguese term oragua, meaning water of the river, derived from the sounds of the waterfalls in the area. Alternatively, it might stem from the French word Ouragan, meaning hurricane, used to describe the Columbia River due to the strong winds in the Columbia Gorge. The uncertainty surrounding Oregon's name echoes the complex multicultural history of the Pacific Northwest. Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania combines Penn with the Latin Sylvania, meaning forest land, effectively translating to Penn's woods. William Penn, who received a land grant from King Charles II in 1681, named the colony after his father. William initially wanted to name the colony Sylvania, referring to the extensive forests in the area, but he ultimately combined it with his father's name to create Pennsylvania. This naming choice reflects both a personal honor and an acknowledgement of the region's natural characteristics. Rhode Island. Rhode Island was first mentioned by Italian explorer Giovanni da Verrazzano in the early 16th century, who compared an island near Narragansett Bay to the island of Rhodes in the Mediterranean. However, Dutch explorer Adrian Blok is credited with the name Root Eiland, which describes the reddish appearance of the island's clay. Some historians provide little support for the theory, linking Rhode Island to the Greek island of Rhodes, suggesting that the Dutch naming due to the island's clay may be more credible. South Carolina. The South Carolina name has a relationship with its neighbor from North Carolina. The name Carolina derives from the Latin form of Charles, which is Carolus. The division of Carolina into North and South reflects the practical challenges of governing such a vast territory. This separation allowed for more efficient administration and acknowledged the distinct economic and social developments in each region. South Dakota. The Dakota Territory, which encompassed both North and South Dakota, was divided on November 2, 1889. This split was part of the broader American territorial expansion. Just like its neighbor of North Dakota, the name means allies or friends in the Sioux language, reflecting the cooperative spirit among the Sioux tribes. Tennessee. The name originates from a Cherokee village called Tanasi, believed to mean either meeting place or winding river. This reflects the importance of the Tennessee River in Cherokee culture and early American settlement. The first recorded use of Tennessee was by Spanish explorer Juan Pardo in 1567, who noted the Cherokee village Tenasqui during his exploration. The exact meaning of Tanasi remains uncertain. Some sources suggest it may refer to a bend in the river, but this interpretation is unsubstantiated. The name preserves the memory of Cherokee presence in the region, highlighting the cultural significance of indigenous names in American geography. Texas derives its name from the Caddo word Taisha, which means friends or allies. The Caddo people use Taisha as a greeting, reflecting their culture's emphasis on friendship and alliance. Spanish explorers adopted the term Taisha from their interactions with the Caddo, transforming it into Tejas, which eventually became Texas in English. The name Texas signifies the cultural exchanges that took place as different groups interacted in the region. While some theories suggest that Texas may also derive from the Spanish word for yew tree, the Caddo origin is the more widely accepted explanation. Utah. Utah's name is believed to derive from the Ute tribe, meaning people of the mountains. This interpretation reflects the indigenous heritage and the geographical features of the state. However, an alternate theory suggests that Utah may come from an Apache word, meaning those who are higher up. Both interpretations of Utah's name underscore the mountainous terrain of the state and its cultural connections. Interestingly, the Ute don't call themselves the Ute. They refer to themselves as the Nuche, meaning the people. The official state website of Utah acknowledges the two theories regarding the name's origin, suggesting that the Spanish may have adapted the term from the Apache when referring to the Ute. Vermont. The naming of the state reflects the prominent green mountains that characterize the state's landscape. French explorer Samuel de Champlain popularized the term, referring to the Green Mountains as Verdemont. The French term vert means green, while mont means mountain, directly describing the lush mountainous terrain that defines Vermont. This name captures an essential characteristic of the state's landscape, emphasizing the natural beauty and the significant geographical features of the Green Mountains. Virginia. The name Virginia was first used in the 16th century when Sir Walter Raleigh received a charter to establish a colony in the region. The lands claimed by England in the 1600s were referred to as Virginia, reflecting the political dynamics of the time, particularly the significance of the Queen's virginity in a patriarchal society. The naming of Virginia symbolizes the early English colonization efforts and the desire to honor the monarchy, as many colonies were named after European monarchs as a form of loyalty to the crown. Washington. The name Washington was chosen to honor George Washington following the establishment of the territory, which was initially to be named Columbia. However, the name was changed to Washington to avoid confusion with the District of Columbia. The decision to name the state after Washington was part of a broader movement to commemorate the legacy of George Washington as the first president and a pivotal figure in American history. West Virginia. The decision to split from Virginia was influenced by political and cultural differences, particularly regarding the issue of slavery and representation in government. West Virginia's creation was a significant moment in American history, representing the complexities of loyalty during the Civil War and the differing interests of regions within a state. The state's name serves as a reminder of the Civil War's impact on regional identities and the tensions between Unionist and Confederate sympathies within Virginia. It encapsulates a unique chapter in American history, where political ideology and geography intersected to create a new state entity. Wisconsin. The term Wisconsin was originally spelled as Mesconsing, reflecting its roots in the language of the Miami people. The Wisconsin Historical Society notes that the name was adapted from the French version of the Miami name for the river, indicating the influence of both Native American and European languages in the naming process. Rivers played a significant role in shaping Wisconsin's geography and early settlement patterns, highlighting the importance of waterways in the development of the state. Wyoming. Wyoming's name originates from a Delaware word meaning at the big river flat or large plains. Interestingly, the name was first used for a valley in Pennsylvania before being transferred to the Western Territory. This transfer of place names reflects the westward expansion of American settlement, as settlers often carried familiar terms from their eastern origins to newly acquired lands. The popularity of the name Wyoming was partly due to a poem titled Gertrude of Wyoming that romanticized the Pennsylvania Valley. This literary influence led to its adoption for the new territory, showcasing how cultural factors can shape geographical naming practices. Some sources suggest that Wyoming might also refer to mountains with valleys alternating, emphasizing the diverse topography of the region.